Hey everybody, what's up? Okay, it's Haas, Columbus Rescue. Shock builds today. We've been asked about this one a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and try to make a video. This is a complicated shock. It's a 2016 RZR XP Turbo. Happens to be a 4-seater. It's the same for 2-seater or 4-seaters. 3.0 coilover with internal bypass. And these are the dreaded Fox shocks that have the new style seal, which is, I call a locking seal head. It's like a threaded, so you can't just push them down to pull the clip out. Will make more sense a little bit later. You have to actually have special tools to thread down the locker to be able to have enough room to access the clip. So these are probably the biggest question that I'm getting right now is how. You definitely got to have specialty tools. I will put a list of tools in the comments in the area, and but you have to have specialty tools for these shocks. Do not bang on them. Use a chisel, screwdriver. No. The specialty tools you're probably going to spend, depending who you buy them from, anywhere from about $200 to $400. So it might not be worth it if you're just doing one set of shocks, or it might be totally worth it because you're the guy that wants to keep playing with your shocks. So here we go. Okay, the specialty tools I choose to use. My tool set, which is this, okay? Here's what they look like. This is, see, special grooves, pins. This set to me is the best set that's out there. There's multiple companies that have them out there. This set is from Schmidty Racing. They're based out of Mesa, Arizona. I'm looking at my invoice right now. They call these the Fox Shock Internal Bypass Wrench Set for the 3.0. There's a 3.0 and a 2.5 version. So again, these to me are the best ones. They're not aluminum, because sometimes you have to beat on these things, or put very big leverage bars depending on who's touched your shocks beforehand. This set, if I buy them directly, I'm not sponsored, I pay for these. I bought them directly from Schmidty Built. They came out to be like about $300. You can buy them from CarTech, Mackenzie's, ORW, I believe. Usually through those guys, obviously they got to make their cash, so they'll spend like $340, $350. But also, well, again, there's a couple different brands. Do not use these. I know these as rear end tools. It'll just damage the shock. And for sure, do not take some type of pry bar, hammer, something, chisel, and bang on them. You're just going to destroy your shocks that way. And then you're going to have to buy new shocks, because somebody like me can't take them off once they're destroyed. And once they're destroyed, that's it, right? Like, there's no way to open them up short of welding, cutting, and grinding. So do not invest in them. Again, not sponsored, not nothing, but these are the best ones that I found because they're metal. They're hardened metal. Don't buy anything that's aluminum. It's just gonna go to crap. Okay, so I got a whole new little light setup thing, so I'm gonna try to show you guys more. But like always, customer brought me the shock. He already bled them out. These have already been touched by shock therapy. It's just a little upgrade that we're gonna do. So it already comes with a Schrader valve, everything. So first thing I gotta take off is the cap, right? For these, it's just a screwdriver that I removed the bottom. This is my small little chisel. There's a little step in it, and just work your way. 1 hit, 2 hits, move on to the other side. 1 hit, 2 hits. And just be careful. This cap really just keeps big, large particulate out. Nothing major. That was 3 hits, so look at that. When I do it on camera, I can't do it. When I'm off camera, I'm great at it. at one point, sometimes you can just simply leverage it, like I am now. I got it to a point where I can leverage it. And hopefully this one does it. Couple more. There we go. Yahtzee. Cap is off. You can use a zip tie, something. I use just a small piece of Velcro. Alright. Just to keep it up out of the way so I can work around stuff. Look at that. Put it on backwards. There we go. Tighten that on. And I can't stress this enough. Not by no means do I call myself an expert. I'm not representing Fox in any way, shape, or form. This is the stuff. This is the way that I've been doing it for many years. I'm happy doing it this way. There's many other more amazing ways to do stuff. Get some advice. This is just a tutorial. If it helps you, awesome. But by no means is this the best way to do stuff. This is just my way of doing it, and that's the way I do it. Okay, so next thing we got to take off is now the specialty tools to press the lock ring down to give you enough access to be able to hook the clip and pull it out. Okay, once I have the whole assembly out, I'll go more into detail and I'll show you how it works, because that was the hardest thing for me to understand. But once you get it out, I think most people will understand it. So now to use the specialty tools. Okay, specialty tool time. I marked mine just so it's easier for me to see the grooves, right? So there's an inner and an outer. This is the outer. I don't know if you can kind of see it, right? And their super tolerances on them is tight. They do it for a reason. It's just because when these things are locked up, you have to put some serious leverage on stuff. So just tap. Nothing crazy. Tap things down. Unfortunately, this shock was damaged. I'll show you the damage prior to. I have no idea by who, but it's damaged. Now the inner. See the grooves? You got to put the 4 pins. Oh, something about these tools. Some company make a 2-pin version. Stay away from that. Don't. Some companies make a 3-pin version. They're a little bit better. Go for the 4-pin. I know it's expensive. Cry once and have the right tool. So, open in. Same thing, just tap. Okay. And leverage is your friend here, people. So, there we go. Okay. Movement is good. Let me struggle a little bit. Let me get the retainer all the way down. So basically what we're trying to do, and I'll explain it a little bit more again, but we're trying to move the black ring. It's a black ring and a gold anodized seal head. We're trying to get the black ring down, push it down, to create enough gap to be able to get your clip in there and pull that retaining clip out. So you're trying to pull it down. So the outer goes counterclockwise. Sorry, clockwise. So outer goes clockwise. The inner, which grabs the gold seal head, goes counterclockwise. That way. So I'm doing this. Okay? All right, let me struggle and I'll show you a little more. Okay, so I basically got the black outer ring all the way down. I pushed it down. So clockwise while I held on to this one, and it basically created a gap where now I'm going to be able to pick it out. Same thing, tolerance on these are tight, right? So tap them off. Bam. And now with that, I can get the C-clip out. Okay. Usually these are my picks I love. I just do, right? That angle. I don't know what's that. Maybe a 30 degree. 45, whatever. Okay. For these shocks, you want one like this. Not a complete U-turn, but definitely past 90. So it's 120 maybe. I don't know. It makes it so much easier to get that retaining clip out. And sometimes you get it instantly. sometimes you don't. And of course on camera, I don't. Okay, let me work on this. Well, let me work on it. And I'll get back to you guys. Okay, this one's being really tricky, so now I gotta use my tricks. Get Schrader valve out 100%, make sure there's no nitrogen in here. We're gonna have to slightly maintain pressure on the seal head to try to get that pick out. I make these spacers, and I make them in all sizes, so it's just a standard piece of tubing, and I cut the center out. Goes there. Take my little Velcro off, push that down. Okay, here's where the trick comes in. Excuse me. Ratchet strap. So I modify ratchet straps for shocks all the time. Ultimately, I make it all into one. And I'll show you guys this one a little bit later. But what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to strap the entire shock down so I can apply pressure, right? Ratchet it so I can apply pressure to slightly give me a little bit more gap to be able to get that retaining ring out. So let me tie this up real quick. I put it through the monoball. Try not to put it on top like that because it can fall off. If you put it through the monoball, guess what? It can't fall off. Safety, right? Not saying that I'm super safe, but I try to be. At least I try to pretend. Okay. Run through my strap. These straps are super cool. I'll put a link to them. I get them through Amazon. They're just really nice and thick. Most people have the orange ones, or right, Harbor Freight ones. Not saying that they're bad or nothing, but they're nice and thick. And the mechanism is all solid, right? It's much thicker steel, so you can really trust them as much as you can trust the strap. Okay. So now, just ratchet it. Obviously the bump stop's here. It's a rubber bump stop, right? That's gonna take up a lot, but I go to town on it. Pick again. Let's see if I can get it. And look at that. Came right out with that trick. So see, I'm gonna call that one Haas's tip of the day. Okay, straps off. My little spacer that I make. Pull it off. Now just pull it out like a standard shaft and seal head assembly. I put my catch tray underneath because it might make a mess. Come on. There we go. There we go. Look at that. We got movement. So these are internal bypass. So inside there's a whole other cylinder, a tube, right? And these are bits. I should be wearing gloves. Hold on. At least a rag. And it's weird. There's no clip. There's no nothing. But they're just, again, tolerances are nice and tight. So look, I removed the shaft assembly, valving seal head, and in this hand is the inner tube, which is basically what is part of the bypass system. So pull them both out. I have my pig pads over here behind the camera, making a mess. Good thing I have slip mats, all right? And off we go. Okay, so now I'm really not doing anything over here on this end. I'm just gonna tweak the valving a little bit to help the ride a lot better. So I'm gonna leave this as it is. I'll move this off to the side because I need a vise. I only have one vise. And then I'll bring the shaft assembly over here, and then I'll show you guys valving. I'm gonna go further than what I normally would for valving, so I can explain to you guys the locking seal head assembly. So maybe hopefully you guys understand. Okay, so let me get to work. Okay, so gonna disassemble the shaft assembly. It's 3/4 nut. Very good, Gamaga. Somebody wants a 10 on it. Right. These gloves, I use really inexpensive gloves. These are like food grade gloves or something, because I change them out consistently, because in my brain, gloves are to keep me clean, but if the glove is all nasty and dirty and I'm grabbing things all over the place, then what's the point? So I just use really inexpensive gloves. Valve assembly. Okay. And my pig pad's behind, so I'm walking, just placing everything on my pig pad. I keep everything how it comes off, so mentally I remember, because I will still forget. This is a bump spring. So this is for that oh no moment when you hit a witch eye, a severe G-out or something. But that's a bump spring assembly. Some people don't know about these. These are awesome. You can actually change these out. That's one of the things that I do. They come in different rates. iBock has a pretty good selection of these. So does Fox. Most spring companies do. If you can't find them in an off-road spring company, start looking at circle track, roundy round stuff. But bump springs. And then the main gland. This is the guy that gets a lot of people's problems. Let me clean it off a little bit, get the oil off of it, so I can start explaining to you guys how it works. See? Gloves come off, get thrown away, bam, fresh hands. Okay, so here's the assembly. Here are the tools again, so you can kind of see the outer part. And you can see this one's been damaged, unfortunately. I told the customer about it already. He asked me if, obviously, if these tools still work. I told him yes. So he's choosing not to replace them. Hey, those are his choices, right? But you can see, look, somebody beat on it. So luckily the tools still work. Because otherwise he'd be replacing this entire thing. Or having to buy a whole new shock if I couldn't have been able to take it off. So that one grabs the outer, the black, and then these pins go on the inner, the gold. And somebody put some type of thread lock on there or something. They should not be this tight at that point. And basically, see that gap right there, right? As you unthread them, that gap gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, so I'm unthreading these. So I'm basically bringing the black piece right now all the way up to remove it. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to clean the threads. That thread lock should not be on there, at least not per me. But the assembly, what it ultimately does is, here's the retaining clip, right? So when this is installed in the shaft inside the body, you put the retaining clip in. Well, we push it down to create gap to be able to get this out. But the way that it locks is it applies that retaining ring, right? And once you put them in and it's all installed, you're supposed to thread it back out so it applies pressure between the shock body and the retaining ring, and that's what prevents it from coming apart. So to take them apart, you got to run it all the way down to get rid of that gap. Sorry for my dirty nails. Run it all the way down, get rid of the gap, install your retaining ring, and then you run it up like if you're removing it to apply pressure. So now that retaining clip can't come out. That's how these are used, or they're designed. Again, seals, everything's in here, right? I'm not doing anything with seals. That's not what the customer wants, but that's how these work. So again, I'm taking it all apart just to remove that thread lock. I don't suggest you put thread locker on them, but they're your shocks. You do what you want. All right. All right, so you see all that white, yummy, nice stuff, thread lock. Again, I'm gonna. This is my opinion. I'm not saying that it's 100% correct, but mechanically these are supposed to lock into themselves. You shouldn't have to add anything. Look at that. There's tons of thread locker on them. Right? Again, if you're a person that you like thread locker, cool, awesome. They're your shocks. Sorry, they're your shocks. You do what you want. But me personally, nah, it's a mechanical lock. Don't need it. Not in my opinion. All right, so now I'm gonna do my wazoo stuff on the valving. Sorry, I don't show that. That's my information that I have. That's why I charge for that stuff. So it's basically, I'm gonna tune these shocks to make the ride a little bit better. But that's it. So again, these locking heads is the common question I get of how. And you have to have specialty tools. Buy the metal ones, not the aluminum ones, to take these apart. So I'm gonna do what I gotta do, and then I'll start showing you guys how to assemble them, which is basically just backwards. Oh, one quick other thing. Okay, this is the tube that was inside the body. This is the bypass assembly design system. These are shims, just like the shims on the piston. So depending on the thickness, depending how many you stack, is what they do. Same thing. I don't show any of this stuff because it's proprietary. It's just for me. Only my customers get this stuff. But these are shims. All those little things in there, right there. Right? So some people don't know why they're internally bypass. That's what creates the internal bypass. All right, guys. Okay, assembly time. I cleaned this off. See, you shouldn't need a tool to thread this guy on, right? It should be nice, easy, and smooth. So again, I'm not a Loctite kind of guy. If you are, cool, awesome. They're your shocks. You do your thing. I'm not. Assembly's just backwards. So again, I did not change seals. Customer didn't want to change seals, nothing like that. So I'm not changing seals. We just did my wazoo valving on it. So there, and just pretty much reverse assembly. Alright, my bump spring. Caca. Sorry I keep reaching behind you guys, but that's where all my pig pad, all my valving, everything is. Okay. So on these, and this is, again, I apologize, definitely not the proper name for stuff, but this is just what I name stuff. I call this a vampire shim. The reasoning behind it is the piston. See that? I don't know if you can see it. See that little guy right there? Oh. Right, maybe if I look, there you go, that's better. See those little pins, right? They need to line up. They have to line up. If they don't line up, no good, okay? So that's why I call these little vampire teeth. That's my little thing. But this, to me, is a vampire shim. Sure, there's a fancy technical term, but make sure they line up when you install them. And they don't touch, right? But they need to be able to flex, right? So make sure that lines up. So I go out of my way to make sure they line up. Line them up. This is my compression side. This is my rebound side. Vampire teeth down. All right. not. I personally do not use a torque wrench. I just kind of feel it out. There is a proper torque setting. Reach out to your manufacturer, reach out to Fox, and they will give you the proper torque setting. The reason I don't is depending on the valving is kind of my theory of how much to apply. And again, this is just how I've been doing it. I know many people want specific numbers. Cool, awesome. Reach out to your manufacturer, get a suggestion from them. This is the way that I do it. I'm not saying it's the best, the proper, the only way. This is just my way. So it's all finished. I'm going to grab the shock body, put it back on, and go next. All right. Okay, I'm going to put in the bypass, what I call the bypass tube. So again, all right, bypass shims are on there. Modified them for my thing. So this guy's has a step in it machined. That goes to in this location, goes to the bottom. But basically, when the shock is installed, that's the top. And when you put it in, feel for it to actually drop in, right? So sometimes what I'll do is I'll purposely force it onto one side until there. I feel it drop in. Once I feel it drop in, then I'm happy that it's in. Now I'm just gonna fill the shock with oil. Same thing, customer asking me to use my blend, so I'm gonna put my blend. You know, use whatever oil you're comfortable with. Obviously Fox, there's Fox Red, things like that. But whatever oil brand, weight, theory you're comfortable with. I don't disclose my shock blend. I'll gladly sell you my shock blend, but I don't disclose it. But you can always call shock, call the manufacturer, ask them for advice, right? And yeah. All right, so now fill it with oil and then putting the shaft in next. Okay, so I filled it with oil. Roughly, I definitely overfill it. I make a mess. That's why I have my catch tray on the bottom. But inside the bypass tube, there's a step machined into it. My first oil level, I fill it up to that, to the very, in this location would be the bottom, not the top, the bottom. So I fill it to where that groove begins, and now I'll insert my shaft and my trusty squirt bottle. I'll top it off to a visual level. Another trick. Your wiper. See there's an opening closing right there on the wiper. I mark, or I know the placement of the bypass tubes or the bypass sections. I put that away because last thing I want is while it's cycling to grab a lip and then damage the wiper. So I literally put it on the opposite side, the 180 side rotation. And here's where sometimes I make a mess. Hopefully I don't. Oh, a little bit. And come on. There we go. And as I'm putting it in, I wiggle it a little bit to get a lot of the oil, the air out. Okay. So I'm happy with that. I set, now talking about the seal head, I ran the lock all the way down, 100% down, okay? And here's where sometimes it gets tricky. There we go. See, I forgot my Velcro. Okay. Again, that just keeps the main cap out of my way. Come on, there we go. Come on. Happy with that. Okay. So here's my trick. I just get the O-ring to touch slightly. I'm happy with my level on the reservoir. I pushed the dividing piston all the way down already. Make sure there's no air in that. So I will slightly insert the shaft until I see the first sign of oil coming out, because as I'm inserting the shaft, it's taking up space and it's pushing all the air out. And the moment I see the first sign of oil, I'm done. I don't push past that. And bam, right there. Stopped. Now, as strong and as fast as I can with my fingers, I'll push the seal head down. Sometimes that's the bang. There we go. Got it. Okay. So now, for me, I'm going to use vacuum to my advantage. So I put my hand on here, pull this out. So what I'm doing now is I'm pulling the shaft out, which creates a vacuum, and that helps the piston head go down. And this isn't a standard shark where it's going to fall all the way down, because it bottoms out on that machine surface that I talked about earlier. So let's grab rubber mallet, tap, tap, tap. Grab my flashlight and look to see if I can see that groove, which I can't yet. So it needs to go down more. There we go. Perfect. All right, I see it. Time to put the retaining clip in. Okay, the retaining clip. Grab my trusty, just my 45 for right now. Right pick, put it in, and I mean really check, quadruple check that it goes in the groove. Because if it does not go in the groove, when you pressurize it, you're gonna make a mess. Bam. All right, she's all in. So now, back with the shock tools. What I'm gonna do is, using the outer, okay, I'm going to run the black lock ring in this position up, right? So I'm going to unscrew it. So now I'm going counterclockwise with the outer tool. Okay, and you kind of see it. I think it says right there, outer. All right, here we go. Okay, so now the retaining clip is in there, and remember, it's tolerances they're tight because they need to be. So just tap things in, don't put them, just tap. And now what we're trying to do is move the black lock ring up. So we're running it counterclockwise. Hold on here. Yep. There we go. Got a little movement. Leverage is your friend. There we go. And I just go until it's snug. I don't go past snug. That's it. There. Nice and snug. Take the tools out, and then make sure that retaining ring is in there. And it's in there. No place for it to go. All right. Time to charge the shock. Okay, so I changed my shock filler tool a little bit, right? System, I made it a little bit more modular. But basically, put my filler on, make sure the plunger is down. I pressurize them to 150 PSI. My gauge will read, oh, sorry, thought you guys could see it. Once my gauge reads 150, then she's all good. And that is pretty much how you rebuild these shocks. And again, I don't want to make mistakes, so they are for a 2016 RZR XP4. This is a 4-seater turbo with Fox 3.0 coilovers, internal bypass, and the what I'm calling new Fox headlock system, right? And again, they sell the tools in a 3.0 and a 2.5 version because the front shocks are smaller. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this helps. Please like and share the video. Send me questions, and if I can answer the questions because I get that certain shock in, I'll gladly do a video for it. But please, I can't say that enough. Share the video, like the video for me, please. I need to get more followers. Follow me if you can. I need to get more followers so YouTube opens up and allows more people to view these. So please, just do me that favor. And thank you guys again. If you guys have any questions, please shoot me a message. I'll try to answer them. And if I can make a video about it, I'll make a video. All right, later guys. Oh, and remember my motto, if I can do it, you can do it, everybody can do it. Laters.